Thanks for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I forgot to upload the intro. Listen, I was working this morning. I've been buzzing around like a mad thing, and I forgot to upload the intro. And I only realised it as I hit start broadcast. We've always said that there's no script. We've always said that there's no script, and that's proof if ever proof were needed. Anyway,
love it.
Don't forget, those of you watching either live or at your own leisure, to drop a like on the stream, despite the amateurish production of it and all the rest of it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel because it will give you a laugh. And don't forget, hit that bell icon, and that will remind you that there's a couple of morons that are on YouTube that want you to just laugh at them and take the piss out of them, basically. So here we are. Well, I would say bang on cue, but we're 27 minutes late.
My fault. Hiya, Happy. Yes, my fault entirely. This is what happens when you run a pub and out of nowhere rock up, best part of 30 people, 25, 30 people, and you're and you get caught out running around trying to serve them before you end up having to come up and do this lovely video with you lovely people. So, my fault.
It is what it is, but there you go. So, Duke, how have you been?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate.
We've obviously we've had the last sort of 2 weeks of international football, a week and a bit, whatever, and it's been a little bit of a lull in proceedings, but we're back at it now. Obviously, we've got a little trip up the towards the fair city of Liverpool for a match against Rafa Benitez's in form, I think it's fair to say, Everton. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll see. There was a time that this fixture used to bother me. There was a time when this fixture used to bug the shit out of me, if I'm honest with you. I always used to be concerned about a trip to Liverpool, to Everton. It always left me with a little a sour taste in my mouth because it never used to go our way. And although they are in form, I mean, let's not dick around, shall we? Where I think Nobes put it best in midweek when he was talking about the cup game against United and the upcoming game against City in the League Cup. And he says it just looks like we've carried on last year's form and we've continued and brought it into this season. And I have to say, and I think I've said it previously, I don't want to keep getting my head in the way of that lovely Forge from Iron sign. That's beautiful, isn't it? Lovely.
My one's just sitting here because obviously I've got one as well, just to sort of
look at
that. That's my one, ladies and gentlemen.
Our chalkboard artist, my chalkboard artist for the pub.
Might have to add it to our merchandise range.
We might do. We get some money out of it. I'll say we've continued this into this season, and I have to say, and as I think I previously said, really excited about this season. Like I've not been as excited for a season that I can remember than this. There's a lot going on media-wise that seems to be coming out, and I've not got caught up in it before. And I say media, it is only one social media site to a degree, and their publications on their own website. I don't really want to create a running battle, but there seems to be a rhetoric from this website and this Twitter page, and an article they put out the other day about Moyes now needing to keep his fingerprints off of the transfers. I don't know if you've seen this one, Gatesy, but
no.
I'll go in. I don't care. Claret and Hugh. They put out that now we've got Newman, that Moyes needs to keep his hands off of transfer dealings and should not get involved and leave it to Newman. Whereas before they were all for Sullivan and Gold having their fingerprints all over. They from what I can see, they seem to be a bit of a mouthpiece for the board.
Oh yeah, we know that. Yeah,
I just at the end of the day, it's all well and good Newman coming in and going, this player, this player, this player. If Moyes doesn't see them fitting into what Moyes wants, there's no point in signing them. So Moyes' fingerprints need to still be.
They have to work in harmony.
Yes. You know, Lingard being proof in the pudding. Lingard came in, got on really well with the team, with the lads, created a real good vibe around the place with a team that we already had in place. And it worked. You know, the last thing you want to sign now, for instance, is a Balotelli ego-esque type player. Do you know what I mean, though?
Yeah,
or you know, or if you go back, you've got like a Paulo Futra or a Hugo Porfirio Danny kind of experience where these guys come in and start chipping away at what is the good
egomaniac.
Yeah, you know, coming in. So, you know, I hope that Moyes continues to do what Moyes has done, and that's have his hands all over our transfer dealings, because right now his transfers seem to be working out. So fingers crossed he continues to work alongside Newman. But there just seems to be a bit of a rhetoric coming from, like I say, that Twitter page and that you know, website with regards to what they're reporting. And I just feel like it's trying to do damage to what's the good feeling that's around that we're all going through at the minute.
I am going to slightly digress, and I apologise because I said to myself I was going to do this at the beginning of the stream, Duke, and I've not discussed this with you, so I hope you're okay with this. But this is what I'm about. Well, what I'm about to say is not football related, but this is to do with something that happened yesterday, where there was an MP by the name of Sir David Moyes, who was, until yesterday, unfortunately, at the time of his murder, his killing, he was the MP of Southend West. The reason why I mention this is he was a West Ham fan. He was from Plaistow. Yeah, I mean, whether you are a Tory, whether you are a Labour, Lib Dem, Monster Raving Loony Party, anything in between, no political affiliation, whatever, he was a human being. He was a father. I believe he was a grandfather. He was a West Ham fan, which is why obviously I'm mentioning this. But fundamentally, this was a guy that just was doing his job. He was just doing his job. He was at a constituency surgery. People were coming in who may have been people that voted for him, may not have been. And this guy in broad daylight, in cold blood. And I appreciate that, obviously, I've got to be careful what I say because there's obviously legal proceedings and all the rest of it. But fundamentally, there's a guy there that went to work yesterday and didn't come home. And, you know, just shouldn't happen. So, you know,
no, it's heartbreaking, mate. And if the newspaper reports and everything else are to be believed, apparently it was a terrorist attack of a lone single person, which, you know, doesn't make it any better. But no, it's not something that should happen.
No,
you know, so the poor guy's gone to work and hasn't come home. You know, so.
Yeah.
Thoughts and wishes are with his family in what's going to be, you know, quite a rough time for them.
Yeah. As I say, I wanted to mention it because, like I say, he's a West Ham fan, or he was a West Ham fan, as I say, and terrible
West Ham
events.
fan in life as he's going to be in death.
Yeah, and terrible thing. Whatever your club allegiance is, whatever your political leanings, that's just barbaric, but there you go. Okay, so moving on. Sorry to just sort of like put the dampeners on things, everyone. But I just felt it needed to be touched upon, and he needed to be given a little bit of respect, if you will. Moving on. I'm just going to go full screen with that, and so that is what I suspect will take to the pitch tomorrow, Duke. As I say, this is what I suspect David Moyes will pick. Whether it's what David Moyes will pick is another matter. But it's pretty much what has become the default team.
Picks itself, doesn't it?
Firing, yeah. I mean, but however, there's possibly there's possibly scope, for maybe Fabianski dropping out for Areola. I think a lot of people said that in the wake of the Brentford defeat. I think a few people have said about Ogbonna didn't look too clever as well. He looked like, he was struggling against the pace of Ivan Toney and Brian Mbeumo. Is it maybe a good opportunity for Issa Diop to come in? Those are probably the only two positions that you'd say were on shaky grounds in terms of their performance in the last match. And then at right back, there's been a bit of, is Vladimir Tufal going to be fit? Is Ryan Fredericks going to be fit? Could it be Ben Johnson playing at right back? Your thoughts on it, Duke?
As I said, mate, it's pretty much a team currently that picks itself. You're right in what you say, about Fab and Ogbonna. It's difficult because you're right in what you said. Ogbonna looked off the pace against Toney and then Mbeumo, but you're not going to come up against a side that play too similar to Brentford too often. They are very, very quick players, and for all intents and purposes, it was our own fault, against Brentford. We've been calling. I've said, me personally, I've been calling for Areola to start in league games. I'm not going to bang on about. The 6-yard commanding. Everyone knows where I feel on that, and everyone knows my take on Fabianski with it.
Yeah.
I'm in agreement with Dare. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's plenty of time for Diop and Zuma to create a banging partnership, and they will create a cracking partnership. I don't think there's any doubt that they will be a future pairing. But right now, I agree with Neil. Tufal, if he's injured, then they stop fucking playing him. We've done this with Antonio consistently, forced him back too quickly and buggered ourselves even further. But other than that, the only thing I would like to see change, Rob, and it's been discussed about across many platforms. So I know we're not going to be the first ones to bring it up. Is the Rice Souček job roles need to reverse?
It's the elephant in the room, isn't it? It's not worked so far.
To revert back to what they were last season. Oh no, not again.
What?
Yeah. No. Listen, I don't know whether it's because it's what Moyes is saying needs to be done, and Moyes is saying, right, it's your turn to push forward and get the goals, or if it's Rice pulling rank on the pitch.
Could be a bit of both, couldn't it? What's up?
You've frozen, Mr. Rob.
Did I? You did. Yes, you have frozen.
I don't have the circle of death yet.
No, I can hear you. I've got you.
I'm still spinning. I'm still here moving.
You're still spinning.
You seem to have frozen.
You're spinning around.
Hang on.
No. Hey, what?
You get a decent kick in. Ready?
You're gonna. I've got the circle of death here, so I'm guessing I'm flying solo at the minute. Either that, or he's flying solo and I've just dropped out. Really confusing. So okay. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, for me, I think Thomas Souček has looked quite leggy of late. I'm hoping that a little bit of a chance for him to sort of drop out of the first team and sort of like go back and play sort of international football, change of scenery, changes as good as a rest, that sort of thing. I don't know. We'll see, but definitely the dynamic between Declan Rice and Thomas Souček so far this season has not been the same as it was previously. Yes, Declan Rice is getting forwards more. Declan Rice is the one that's in the goal scoring role, but that has been at the detriment of the goal scoring performances of Thomas Souček. So is it time, Duke, for Thomas Souček to maybe take a little bit of a step back and give Alex Kral an opportunity?
I missed all of that. I won't lie. I kicked myself out. No. What I think needs to happen is we need to go back and do what we did last year. It's quite straightforward and it's quite simple. It worked, and Souček got plenty of goals because he arrived late. I'm not saying that Declan Rice needs to stop doing what Declan Rice does. And when Declan Rice picks up the ball and wishes to run with the ball, knock yourself out, do what you do. On the other side to that, the late runs into the box where Souček was so dangerous last year, that needs to start again. And listen, Declan Rice is not as devastating with the late runs into the box as what Souček was last year.
Agreed.
Souček cannot carry the ball like Declan Rice carries the ball, and like the goals that we've seen from Declan Rice, when he streaks forward. What I'm saying is there has to be a point in time in a game where Declan Rice goes, okay, I'll sit for a bit. Tom, you go. You make those late breaks. You get in, because Declan Rice isn't as devastating in that sense of the word. So I want to see that happen. I want to see Souček with those late breaks into the box, defenders losing him. He comes in, gets the headers, gets on the receiving end, sneaking it to the back post, where he was absolutely, devastating last year. Conan the Barbarian, devastating. He was fantastic. So I just listen. I think Souček needs to find what it is that works for him again.
Yeah. Fair.
Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's been so piss poor he deserves to be dropped. Not at all. Not at all.
Not been at the same level though. I mean, I go back to that back pass for the opening goal at Elland Road, and that screamed of a tired Thomas Souček to me. This is a guy that's played top level football non-stop for probably the previous year, 18 months.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't think he deserves to be dropped because he's not having devastating effects on our game, shall we say? It was one back pass that we conceded a goal. I mean, none of us called for Carlton Cole's head when he did exactly the same thing. None of us asked for him to be dropped and be replaced. So he's conceded us one goal. He hasn't conceded us points as of yet. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it won't happen. Whereas, I wouldn't drop him. I'd keep him in there. But I'd just like to see him get forward more. I think it's a confidence thing, and I'd like to see him bag a couple of goals, and you might see a different style of player.
Fair. Should we have a look at the Everton team, or what I suspect the Everton team will be?
The only bonus is that we're not going to see Lukaku in that Toffee team because he always used to ruddy score, didn't he?
Yeah, we got to face him at some point, though. Now, I got to say, before I put it up on screen, I'm going to hold my hands up. I actually put this Everton team together after the previous round of fixtures finished. I looked at the previous couple of games. I looked at the shape, the personnel, and I put it together and said I'd probably tinker with it sort of like in the run up to this particular game. Midway through this week, I'm sitting there hearing a lot of the injury reports and players that might be missing and all the rest of it and thinking, do you know what? I might have to change quite a few players here. But then I heard Rafa Benitez's press conference yesterday, and it actually, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, actually, it's pretty much the team. In fact, it is the team that I picked a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I'll just put it up on screen. I'll just go full screen and get rid of that. It's Pickford in goal. Back four of Luca Digne, who there was a lot of noise. He's going to miss this game. Doesn't look like he is. Michael Keane. I actually wouldn't be surprised to see Yerry Mina, but we'll see. That one's a little bit of a maybe, maybe not. And Ben Godfrey at right back. Now, it could well be that Ben Godfrey plays at centre-back, Yerry Mina drops out, and you're either looking at Mason Holgate or Seamus Coleman coming in at right-back. but something along those lines. Alan and Decore as the central midfielders. Andros Townsend on the right. And I've put Anthony Gordon on the left, but it could be Alex Iwobi coming in. Who knows? Demarai Gray in the second striker position, and that being behind Salomon Rondon playing as the number 9. I've got it down as a 4-4-1-1 formation. Rafa might change it. It might go to a 4-2-3-1. But looking at the previous couple of games that Everton have played, they've adopted this shape quite readily, and it seems to have worked in the main to sort of like to good effect. So again, do you see that that's probably the team that Rafa's going to go with, or do you think there's going to be a couple of surprises along the way?
Do you want to read something quite bad?
Fire away.
1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 6 of that side I'm aware of. The rest of them I ain't got a clue, mate. If I'm honest with you. That's how much Everton have changed in the last number of years. That their players that are in there don't scream out and go to me, "Hello, you know me." I really don't. I mean, Luca, Michael. I'm a big fan of Michael Keane. I have to say, I would have loved to have seen him join us before he went to Everton. I've got to say, Alan, if I remember rightly, he's that tricky little bastard. And Andros Townsend, I'm aware of, and then obviously Demarai Gray, who I rate again quite high. Other than that,
1.7 million they got him for.
Yeah, no, it's a joke.
Crazy.
It's a joke. Tomorrow,
and it's not like they got him from non-league either.
No, there's one thing we need to be doing tomorrow, okay? And we need to be having Big Stu, Antonio in that box, and I want to see Pickford bullied tomorrow.
Yep.
He is literally, he's not a Premier League goalkeeper. He's one of them ornaments that sit in your back garden next to your pond with stupid hat on fishing.
Oh, that's a bit harsh. He's England's number 1.
Right, he's tiny. He's tiny. And I don't understand why teams that have got lumps like Souček and Antonio in there, Kurt Zuma, Issa Diop, Ogbonna, literally clatter that fucker tomorrow because
he's 6'1". He's not tiny.
No, but the way his stature himself,
kind of like Shea Given was.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's a tall fella. But he's not commanding as far as I'm concerned. And I want to see, like, he doesn't enjoy being jostled in that box, mate. He's not one to come out and claim when when he's surrounded by lumps that may well absolutely clatter him. I didn't see him do it for England. You know, he's not one to want to come out and get involved in that hustle and bustle.
Do you think the set pieces are going to be key in this match?
Oh, listen, set pieces for us are key, full stop, Rob. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Set pieces for us are as key as they come. We were top scorers in the Premier League from set pieces last year, if I remember rightly. We also were the top frame hitters last season with about 2,486 attempts that hit the woodwork, which is why Tibbles and the Tible and Mexican Tibbles and German Tibbles and all the rest of it are unfortunately no longer with us. But we're dangerous from them, Rob.
Yeah,
we're dangerous, and as far as I'm concerned, we need to be getting back to what was essentially last year's basics, and that was dump the ball into the box from free kicks, from corners. Please miss the first second man, because we are quite impressive with hitting the first man from corners, and it drives me bonkers that we can't do that. That don't make for good reading, though. But if I remember rightly, I think 72 of those were when Lukaku was playing for them. So
sounds about right. He always scored against us when he was at Everton, didn't he?
It frustrates the life out of me. When he came back to United, I was like, here we go again. Here we go.
Yeah, I've actually got
love scoring against you, didn't they?
Well, I've got the last 10 as well there in all competitions. Three wins. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defeats and 2 draws. Not great.
It's
Not
not
drastically bad, but not great.
As you've already said, mate, that there means absolutely bugger all going in tomorrow's game.
True.
You know, and it does. It means nothing. Tomorrow's game is tomorrow's game, and the players that are playing in tomorrow's game are, you know, they could add to that statistic or they could change that statistic. But there's nothing to say that, you know, it's not like it's a shall we say a two-team league where it's only you play against each other and momentum is key. A bit like, let's say, with a baseball, with a Boston Red Sox and Houston Astros, where momentum is key. So last night, the Astros, they beat the Red Sox, which I'm not happy about, but they beat the Red Sox. So momentum is with them before they go into tonight's game and tomorrow's game. So momentum is with them. It's a best of 7 series. They've won the first one. Momentum is on their side.
Yeah.
They're going to be pumped up. This is essentially tomorrow is a one-off game. You can't put credence into, you know, games that happened six years ago.
No,
it doesn't.
But one thing that does concern me, and I'm looking at this moment in time. I tell you what, I'll see if I can share this. Hang on just a moment, because I don't know if you're aware of this, but the current form table in terms of the last 5 Premier League games. There we go. I'll just go full screen with that if I can. There you go. That doesn't make for great reading either. I mean, Everton are 4th in that particular table, and we are 14th. We've won 1 of our last 5 Premier League games. Now, I looked at that earlier and I was like, that's not great when you sort of look at it like that.
We've slipped up and there's been mistakes made. And that's more, I think, to do with a little bit in change in player roles, if you will. So, you know, again, like I said, I'm not going to read too much into it. What we've got is what we've got right now. The way I'm looking at it is we go into tomorrow's game and the players that are there, either one of 2 things: they put on a show, they show up, or they don't. You know, and that's both sides. If both don't turn up, then we're in for a real boring shit, either 1-0 either way, 0-0 draw kind of scrappy, horrible game, or both teams turn up and we are going to have an absolutely banging game of football. You know, I just kind of caught bits of the Liverpool game downstairs, and Ranieri's Watford may well have not bothered coming out the changing rooms for the first half. They were literally, I don't even think I saw them touch the ball when I looked up at the TV screen. I'm going to give it. You know, it's we've got to turn up tomorrow, and we've got to be the West Ham from 3 or 4 games ago. We know that. We've got to be playing with confidence again. We've got to support Antonio, left, right, and centre. You know, Rice and Souček have to reverse those roles, and it has to be, for me, Souček arriving late. And we just need to learn how to defend again. You know, I look at a couple of the things, and you know, I wasn't impressed with Fabianski against the last game against Brentford. You know, there were a couple of things. You know, I think it was the first goal, just kind of palmed it straight back into. Was it the first one we palmed it back into the path, or was it the second one?
Both of them, essentially, really. But I mean,
the first one he kind of just and it was there, and then the second one I thought was piss poor. He literally just kind of back into the danger zone, you know, which essentially cost us. It did cost us the game. That balls up on his part cost us the game. Whereas I said to you before, Souček's pass back didn't cost us the game. We ended up going on and getting the result out of that. Fabianski's balls up against Brentford cost us the game. Now, I don't know whether people watching, there's 9 watching, whether or not they agree with that, or whether you agree with that the ball's come at him, it's been headed, and rather than go left or right and back off that way, he's pushed it straight back out, parried it back straight out. It's gone less than 12 yards, probably gone about 8 yards, 9 yards out to the only player that was unmarked in the box.
Typical West Ham, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. To absolutely leather it into the back of the net. Now, you can blame the defender for not being on the man. Personally, I blame the goalkeeper for not putting it out of danger. Don't push it back into the danger zone. I've watched goalkeeping training. One of my best friends is a goalkeeping coach. And the one thing you teach the youngsters coming through is if you're diving to make a save, you push it away. If you're making a save, it's got to go away. 9 times out of 10, that means left or right, or if you just have to push it up in the air, which probably would have been a better option last game out for Fabianski with that header. But Mitchell just pushed it up to give the guys time to kind of rearrange and maybe go up for the header, or even himself get back up and claim. But not push it out 8 yards, literally central. And it was probably a yard either side of being central. And it's cost us the game. It's cost us the game. And another goalkeeper may well have come and tried to claim that because the header was on the 6-yard line. You know, so again, it comes down to commanding his box, Rob, doesn't it? And which he doesn't do, which I've said over and over again. So I'm not doing it.
Obviously, the two guys in the technical area are well known to one another from their days managing the two clubs in the fair city of Liverpool. Obviously, David Moyes, once upon a time, being the Everton manager, and Liverpool, once upon a time, managed by the current Everton manager, Mr. Rafa Benitez, who once upon a time described Everton as a small club, and there he is. He's in the number 1 position. They often say that styles make fights, and I look at us, West Ham, and I see us, and I don't know whether you agree, disagree, and obviously you can come back at me. I see us as very much a team that is quite happy to relinquish the bulk of possession to the other team, soak up the possession, soak up, you know, the sort of like the opposition's pressure building up on us. We're organised, we're compact, we're solid, and we can hit quickly, we can break, we can create chances, plentiful chances with the possession we've got. We're good enough to convert a decent amount of them, and more often than not, at least get a point, and an awful lot of the time get all 3. I look at Everton and I see basically the same thing, and it's a bit like when you've got 2 boxers that go in the ring that stylistically are that similar. Sometimes you end up having a match that actually, as a spectacle, isn't all that. Do you kind of see that coming tomorrow?
Listen, I had this conversation actually with someone in my pub. That wasn't you, strangely enough. Tomorrow's game, much like if you go back a few weeks, Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua was taught how to box by Usyk. He was given a boxing lesson because tactically, Usyk was far superior. Tactically, Usyk was outstanding. It didn't make for a spectacle, Rob, to watch because neither of them threw the big bombs, which I believe that if Joshua had decided to throw those, he may well have had a different outcome in that game. But Joshua didn't want to get hit. Joshua didn't want to get hurt. Therefore, he didn't want to expose himself. Whereas you saw last week, the big Irish gypsy throwing bombs and taking bombs. He wasn't frightened of getting punched in the face because at the end of the day, as a boxer, that's what's going to happen. And you saw a spectacle last week. Wilder versus Fury, because both went for it. Whereas the week before you saw tactical match, and I can see very much the same tomorrow. It's going to be about your tactics. It's going to be about who makes those changes and brings the play to the other team. My problem is we don't have a plan B when we come up against someone that wants to play like us. We don't know what we're doing. The players are not set up right.
You don't really look at the bench an awful lot of the time and look at our bench with all due respect. And it's stronger than what we had last season. I won't get away from that.
That's what I was about to say.
But when we're 0-1 down, whether it's away, whether it's at home, and 70 minutes have gone, I don't really see that we look at the bench. I mean, even, what was it, the Manchester United game where we was it Man United or was it the Brentford game where we never made a substitution? And I think that's quite telling.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, I get as frustrated as everyone else with the lack of I don't want to say attacking options because, like you said, we are better now than we were set up last season. I just don't think Moyes knows what to do when we come up against a side that do the same thing. So,
I like that name.
Yeah, I'm not going to say either.
Tickled me.
I've already done that.
He makes a good point.
No, I haven't already done that in my mind. That's not what I meant. No. I'm not doing that. I'm not having that. Like I say, everyone's entitled to their opinion. If Mr. Meoff wants to have that as his opinion, I'm giving.
He's gone.
What
I got him.
I got him. We all felt the same about Antonio a few years ago. We all felt the same about Arnautovic a few years ago. And look at what happened. Arnautovic under Pellegrini was dog shit. And we were going, what's the point in persevering with a guy? He's not interested. He's not willing to chase. He's not willing to do it. Moyes came in and went, Arnie up front, son. Off you go. Bang, bang, bang. We've got goals. I think we're going to see the same thing with Vlasic. I do. I just think he needs a bit of game time and there needs to be some workings out. I don't think he's going to be a flop. If we're talking flops, we're talking Savio. Savio
I think it's too early to call him a flop.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not. Listen, Mr. Meoff, that's your opinion, and you're entitled to that, and I'm not going to stop it, Rob. Stop it. That's your opinion, and you're more than welcome to that, and we can have a conversation around it. But from where I am, I'm the under slab. Stop hurt. Sorry.
Yeah.
You know what I meant, though. That's all good. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned now, we've got better options coming off the bench. Significantly better options coming off the bench. No disrespect to Afolayan and Odebeko. Vlasic is a better option coming off the bench. Yama, for all intents and purposes, is a better option off the bench than Afolayan right now.
Yeah.
Afolayan next season might be a different story. Odebeko next season might be a different story. But right now, I'd rather the guy that's scoring 2 goals in 2 international games coming off the bench and not doing that again for us. You get the idea, right? So so as far as I'm concerned, tomorrow I've got us down for a 2-1 win.
Okay.
I've got us down for a 2-1 win. Fair enough. I think that Antonio and Big Stu will score for us. My only concern for them would be the pace of Townsend and Gray with Rondon in there as well. But again, that's something that we can deal with. I don't think that I don't think we're going to struggle in any way, shape, or form with the way that they set up. I think that Benrahma is going to have another outstanding game as he's spent the season doing. Fornells will continue to support Cresswell down that side, and when you consider he's going to be facing Townsend, he's going to need that support again, because Townsend is a very tricky player. He's a very quick player. Don't get me wrong; he's not what he used to be when he was at Newcastle. He had a good time at Newcastle, I felt.
Spurs as well, I'd argue. Surprised. Sorry for my language.
Spurs, yeah, again, I didn't want to go for that. So I wouldn't say it's awful. There
not
are
great.
Worse teams. I don't, but I consider Norwich to be awful defensively. I wouldn't consider us to be awful defensively.
I think awful's putting it very politely. Some people might say dog shit, but I could not possibly comment.
But that's just rude. 2-1 win. 2-1 win. Like I say, the goals, Antonio and Big Sue, another great performance from Ben Rama. Bowen, again, I'd like to think he can kick on now. You've been banging on about how he just needs a goal. He's got that.
Yep.
And obviously he's been scoring as well quite often away from the pitch.
He has. Lucky boy.
I don't know, really. Yeah, not for me.
No, not my. Listen, I'm not saying my cup of tea either, but listen, any port in a stall.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine pissing off Daddy? Oh, I'll pass for it. Actually,
yeah.
It's all crap. I don't met him once. Not a fan. So back to where we were. Over to you.
I'm going 1-1. I think it will be a draw. I think we'll concede, and I don't see us keeping a clean sheet. I really don't. But I think we've got enough in us to get a goal ourselves. I think 1-1. We'll see. Do you want some nuggets? I'm not talking chicken.
Give me a nugget.
I got a bountiful supply today. This is quite a little stash of nuggets I've got for you guys. Everton have won more Premier League games, 27, and have scored more Premier League goals, 87, against West Ham than they have against any other side in the competitions. I don't write this. I'm just a facilitator, guys. Don't blame me. I don't make this information up. I just bring it to you. That's not great, is it? 26
of those games and 84 of those goals were Romelu Lukaku.
Yeah, there is that. I've heard he's a loan signing just for tomorrow's game, though, from Chelsea.
He rocks up tomorrow. If he rocks up tomorrow, I'm out. Right? Seriously. Listen. Again. Go on, read that one. Give me that.
Okay. We've won 2 of our last 3 Premier League away games against Everton. Ooh, reasons to be cheerful. Losing 1, which is as many as we had in our previous 21 visits to Goodison Park. And we are looking to win consecutive away league games against the Toffees for the first time since March 1930. And before anyone says it, no, I was not alive then. Up yours.
Again, it doesn't make for good reading, but it's one of those, isn't it? It's a situation where the previous results mean jack shit in the grand scheme of things. We look at those goals in games of Lukaku. Lukaku had a way of scoring against us. Whatever team he played for, he's had a habit of scoring against us and helping those teams to win.
It became a self-fulfilling prophecy, didn't it?
It did, yeah, of course it did. I mean, let's not lie. You to be the first thing you did when we come up against Chelsea, I will be sticking a tenner on Lukaku to score against us. I don't, just because that's what it is. Hey, there's the man. Preach. Good man. But it is what it is. I mean, like I say, these nuggets in the grand scheme of things mean jack. I just don't. The players aren't going to be looking at this and going, "Oh fucking hell, look, this ain't looking good, shit," and it ain't going to play with their confidence of what could be tomorrow's game. So,
it's a little bit of fun. I like nuggets. Should we go to the next one? Everton have won all 3 of their Premier League home games so far this season. They last won each of their first 4 at Goodison Park in... hang on. That part of that has disappeared. See, this is something else that's gone wrong. Something else that's gone wrong. Oh, I'll tell you what, we can edit this bit out, can't we? Oh, hang on. No, that's right. This is live. We'll get on to the next one. Move on to the next one. Whatever. God dear, I can't get the staff. We have lost 2 of our last 3 Premier League games, winning 1, more than we had in our previous 9 combined, where we also lost 1. However, away from home, we are unbeaten in 6 Premier League matches, winning 4 and drawing 2. Very unlike us. With the Hammers last having a longer such run in the competition back in January 2009, which was a run of 7 games.
But again, this comes down to the fact that we're quite happy to let teams have a lot of the ball.
Yeah.
You go away from home, we're quite happy to. I can't remember who it was that said it a few weeks ago, saying that West Ham control the game by not having the ball.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. I mean, tomorrow's game will be interesting. Tactically, it could be a fantastic game, and it'll be in baseball what you call a pitcher's duel. It will come down to tactics, and it will come down to who makes the change for the better. No, I'm here. I'm just my mind's. I'm kind of. No, I'm not going to say it because I'm not sure. I'm not reading it out because I don't know.
Well, it's a new one. Welcome along. Tell your friends.
Yeah, well, he's got the same background picture as Mr. Meoff, a bit higher up on the screen. So I don't know. I'm not reading the name out. I'm not doing it. Yeah, we control games. We control games by not having the ball. And if Everton want the ball all day tomorrow, let them have it. Tactically, Moyes will know how he wants to go. And like I say, it could be a tactical game tomorrow. It's either going to be a banger or a borer, one of the two.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if, as I said earlier, I think that we're very, very similar stylistically. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 2 teams that cancel each other out and it's a bit of a stalemate, but we'll see. Next nugget, Everton have won 7 points from losing positions in the Premier League this season, more than any other side coming into this weekend's game. Indeed, it's already as many or more as they won in each of their last 3 campaigns, with the Toffees last winning more points from behind in 2017-18 when they won 14. Dun, dun, dun.
Again, it's one of them ones, isn't it? I mean, the opposition could score in the first 10 minutes and they've still got 80 minutes to get back in front.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? I'd like to have a look at the minutes that those goals were scored in, that they went 1-0 down or 2-1 down, whichever the case may be, and then obviously the time left after the goal that they go behind to, because that'd be interesting. If you score after 66 seconds, you've still got practically 90 minutes to get back into the game and win it. So it's not a stat. It's not a stat that I would be. You know me, mate. I'm going to give you the same answer.
I know you are. I know you are. Everton's Dominic Calvert Lewin, although I don't think he's going to be involved tomorrow, but here it is. He's scored 5 goals in his last 4 appearances against West Ham in all competitions. The only team he has netted as many goals against for the Toffees is Newcastle with 5. Wouldn't it be just our luck for Dominic Calvert Lewin to make a Lazarus-like recovery and he's on the team sheet tomorrow that's announced at 1:00 in the afternoon? It would be just our luck, wouldn't it?
Dominic Lukaku.
Yes, that was exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking Lukaku as well.
Yeah, Dominic Lukaku.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm aware they're injured, yes.
No. Ben, I'm not reading that out. Ben.
You've been caught too many times, haven't you?
Well, it's not that. I just know that it's not Romesh, is it? It's the other one. There's a comedian that says that quite often on Facebook and shit.
Don't know. No idea.
Internet. I'm coming back in again.
Hey, what?
Fortnite. Hang on.
Oh, is your boy? No. I'll tell you what. You sort of hit Control Alt Delete. I'm going to carry on with the Nuggets. I'll get these out of the way. So Andros Townsend has been directly involved in 8 goals in 9 games in all competitions for Everton, with 5 goals and 3 assists, which is as many as he had in his final 61 appearances for Crystal Palace, with 2 goals and 6 assists. However, Townsend has never scored in 14 games against us, with more than he's faced any other side without finding the net in his career. You know what's going to happen tomorrow, people. Yeah, he's going to score, isn't he? It would be just typical of our luck. Is Duke back in? Hang on. There he is. Right. Yeah, you've that one's... there we go. Yeah. It's all right. You're back. Next nugget. So,
he's playing Fortnite. She's watching something on a bloody laptop. So, yeah, I'm going to go throw something.
Can you divorce your children?
Well, I'm thinking about just buying my own internet.
Might be an idea. No player has had more ball carries leading to a shot with 12 or a goal with 3 than Everton's Damari Gray in the Premier League this season. West Ham's Michail Antonio has also had 3 ball carries leading to a goal this term. I don't know about you, Duke. As I say, Damari Gray is one of those players that, remember when he first came through at Leicester, I looked at him and I thought, I can see an awful lot of potential here, and I hopefully for the kid, it's beginning to bear fruit at Everton. Hopefully not tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow he has a bad game, but I've always rated him quite highly. I don't know about you.
Who's this, Damari?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen. At the end of the day, he is another one that. He struggled for whatever reason with, the kind of possibility that he had. The kind of the prospect that he was, and then kind of didn't fulfill it completely, did he?
Yeah.
So, I mean, From what I understand, and the people that I've spoken to that know him, he's a very unassuming young man. Very assuming person. He doesn't the kind of the ego isn't there for him. He's a workhorse. He will work hard in training. So I hope it comes good for him. Again, preferably not tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I hope it does come good for him, and he does. He gets somewhere where he deserves to actually be. To be fair.
Yeah, fair point. In all competitions ahead of this weekend's games, only Mohamed Salah with 12 had been directly involved in more goals amongst Premier League players this season than West Ham's Michail Antonio. 10 matches, 6 goals, 4 assists. He is on flames.
I mean, listen, did you see, just quickly, seeing as you've mentioned his name, did you see Salah's goal against Watford, Casey?
I haven't. Please tell me. Oh, was it a banger, as my kids say? A banger?
No. I'll tell you what.
Go on.
If Messi scores that,
okay.
If Ronaldo scores that, we hear about it for the next 6 months.
Really? Like that?
So the goal he scored against City, where he dumps the defenders on their arse, comes back in and puts it in off the post at the back.
Yeah.
Very, very similar. But he does he puts his foot on the ball. He's surrounded by 3, possibly 4 Watford players at this point.
Okay.
Inside the 6-yard box, probably about 12, 15 yards out at an angle on on the right hand side.
Oh, I don't know. Is this your internet dicking around or is it mine? I'm going to work on the assumption that your internet has gone for a Burton and not mine.
I'm here.
Oh, you are there?
I'm here. No, it's me. I am here. I'm just sitting here like waiting. So yeah, he puts his foot on the ball.
Yeah.
And he kind of has a little roll. He kind of rolls his studs on the ball backwards, forwards, and then kind of rolls it round the player. And one of the defenders that's standing there, I did say when we watched the replay of it, he must have felt like a right one of them. Because as Salah feigns to shoot, he kind of dives in. He dives in, and Salah brings it back onto his left foot and bends it into the far corner. I'll be honest with you, I just stood there, and you can't do nothing but shit. Nah. It was a great goal. It was a magnificent goal. As Peach obviously brings it up there. It was a great goal. He's there obviously alongside, and Antonio's name's being mentioned in that same. In that same vein, Salah actually also set up Sadio Mane this afternoon for the opener with an absolutely pinpoint 40, 50-yard pass, defence put-ins pass with the outside of his boot, literally into the gap between the back four and the goalkeeper. And Mane just went, thanks very much. That's probably one of the easier goals I'm going to score. Greenwood has scored, and so has Bernardo Silva, maybe.
Sadio Mane's goal, if I heard it right, Sadio Mane with that goal, from what I understand, became only the third African player to score 100 Premier League goals behind Mo Salah and Didier Drogba. But none of those goals were penalties.
They're the three players that have never scored that weren't penalties. Outstanding.
Next nugget.
I mean, listen. At the end of the day, we've got Antonio, who will his size and his strength will create chances, not only for himself but for the other players in our team. I mean, you only have to see the goal. The one that put him level or clear as West Ham's Premier League top goal scorer. Who was he against? I can't remember.
Leicester.
You were there. Leicester. And he held off. He held off the centre back, didn't he? And the strength was just phenomenal. So was it? And he was just phenomenal.
Yeah, probably.
He will create more and more this season for himself and for others because of his strength and his size.
Interesting you say that, because it brings us nicely onto this little nugget. West Ham duo Saeed Benrahma and Michail Antonio have created 14 chances for each other in the Premier League this season, 7 each, more than any other pair in the competition so far this term. Again, they're on fire, aren't they?
They just need to convert those chances into goals, okay, and then we can. Agreed, Mo. Completely agree. He really doesn't. His talent puts him up there alongside Messi, but because he isn't Messi, Scott, because he's not Messi and because he's not Ronaldo, and I wouldn't like to say. Actually, I'll go there. Because he's Egyptian, he doesn't get the same kind of recognition as the other two do, because obviously Egypt isn't an international force to be reckoned with, shall we say. So he doesn't get the accolades that the other two do, because he hasn't got the other players around him at international level. Do you see what I mean? So
fair point.
But if these two boys here, Gatey, if these two can turn these into goals, then they're going to be up there alongside the Kane and Son of assists and goals for each other.
Yeah, fair point.
But again, from what I heard last night, Kane and Son has tested positive for COVID, which rules him out of the next 3 games for Spurs, which actually rules him out for the game against us.
Well, I wish him a speedy recovery, but not that speedy.
Not that speedy.
Not that speedy. So I don't know if I've got any more nuggets. No, that is it. This is now a nugget-free zone. We are out of nuggets. We have gone through all of the nuggets, Duke. I'm sure you've probably got some more in your kitchen, though, haven't you?
Oh, plenty. But this one I like.
4-3-3.
This I like.
But Pablo would drop out. Could you do that?
Yeah, but then you've got. Yeah, I would. Listen, I love Pablo, but I think Scott's got it right there. They play two in the midfield, and with the style of play and the physicality that those three players can bring to the table, Krause, Souček, Rice, we could absolutely overpower them in that midfield. Obviously, you'd then have to ask Benrahma and Bowen to do a little bit of defensive work because of the likes of Townsend. But that being said, that's not a bad shout, because then you could have Krause, or you could have Souček, or you could have Rice support Fornals, replace Fornals and support Cresswell on that left-hand side if they do come through. So I quite like that. I quite like that a lot.
Yeah.
And
if any of you guys watching fancy nuggets or any other meal, or just a beer, or just fancy sort of like rocking up and having a chat with him, that's where you need to go. That's where you need to go.
Listen, I'll tell you what else we need to do at some point is pay a visit to Scott. Because I'm telling you now, some of that grub that comes out of his kitchen at the pub that he's at looks absolutely stunning. I was looking
down at Hoth, isn't it?
Yeah, I was looking at his Instagram page for the pub, and some of the food that obviously gets shared there looks absolutely bangering. It really does. Looks absolutely amazing, Scott. So I would like to make a visit there at some point. I have to say.
There's 12 of you guys watching at the minute. I've got a spoiler for you. Spoiler alert. A little bit earlier on, I did a recording of Opposition Recon. This is the YouTube channel. Do us a favour. He's a lovely guy, Ryan. It will be going out later today. It's about a 25 minute recording from an Everton fan giving his point of view on all things Everton, and also looking at West Ham from an Everton point of view. Do us a favour. Drop over to his YouTube channel and his Twitter feed. Put in follow Everton Fan TV channel. You'll find him. Just give him a follow. You know, he's trying to get his numbers up, and he's a lovely young man, and very articulate, knowledgeable. Yeah, once upon a time we was all there. Help him out. Give him a sub, and you know, have a little look at what he's got to say. And thanks for listening. And one last thing before we wrap it up, Duke. Do me usual. Don't forget, guys, that the campaign to help Isla Caton and her family out in this time of need for them is still ongoing. Please copy and paste this. It is in the description below YouTube and Facebook. You can put it on your social media platform with a little note that there's a girl out there that is, she's coming up to her 7th birthday as well. I believe it's the 22nd of this month. She turns 7, if I've got my dates correct. But she's still going through it. Her family still need our support. There's a Just Giving link. If you guys are in a position to put some coppers in the pot, please do so. But if not, at the very least, just get it out there onto your social media platforms. And yeah, let's keep this campaign going in the right direction. Thank you very much indeed for listening. And once again, before we wrap it up, guys, don't forget to drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, hit that bell icon to be notified of any new content. What should they do? Are they going to brush it? Are they going to tickle it? What do they need to do, Duke?
I'm running out of euphemisms for it, Miles.
You're going to have to... Yeah. How about agitate?
Ooh.
Agitate.
But that sounds quite irritable, doesn't it?
Do you think?
Irritating the bell. Yeah, if you're going to agitate the bell, that's not going to be overly like...
Circulate.
With sandpaper.
Circulate.
Circulate the bell.
Circulate the bell.
Listen, us men who have a habit of taking pictures, probably don't need our bell being circulated too much more.
No. But yeah, and Scott says
one of them.
Scott says he's coming down to the ball, along with Mr. Simon.
We've got a couple of golf courses. There's a couple of golf courses local enough, knowing them boys. So they could probably go up to Pedden Place or up to what's the one at Swanley. They could have a little bit of a go.
Oh, you're not on about
down and say hello.
They could always go down to West Kingsdown because that's where the London Golf Club is. That's quite exclusive though, isn't it? Because that's where old Henry Cooper, the late Henry Cooper, used to go. So I don't think I'm not that good at golf anyway.
So they know all about that. No. I hold a golf club like a baseball bat.
Oh dear. Right. Okay. I'm gonna hit the end titles now, Duke. Which is, I've got an end titles to hit. We didn't have a beginning title. Yeah. Right. No, we've got end titles because they're default. But the beginning credits I completely forgot. It was only when I hit start broadcast I went, oh shit. Too late now. So I'm gonna hit the end credits. What are we gonna sign out with though, Duke? What do you want to say?
Well, I just want to say one thing, that this gentleman has just put up there 46 to go.
Yeah, it's getting there.
If any of you know of anyone that might want to just, drop us a subscribe. Come on, help us get.
And even share this stream. Share this stream onto your social media.
Yeah. At the end of the day,
goes a long way.
Came on, didn't we, Rob? With the initiality of it, of being just, we want to do it. And then the closer we got to that 1,000, and to be fair, it's got nothing to do with, obviously, we can get monetized after that 1,000. I said before, overly fussed. And you, my friend, and you, always a pleasure. We're there now, wanting to just keep going. Like I say, I'm not worried about the monetization.
We're not going to get rich off of it anyway, is it?
No, listen, I'm not buying my own pub at any point soon, so I'll still be coming back and doing this. So, so just, but again, it wouldn't be possible without those people that are out there watching this pair of ugly mugs
definitely
on the screen consistently. So thank you to you guys. But if you could get us one last push to the 1,000, would be amazing. Because eventually, Gatesy, Forged from Iron will be very much like West Ham.
Why is that?
I know who it is. Cheers, Pete. Thanks, though. I'm aware. Thanks for letting me know. I'll teach you, boy.
I think he knew. Peach. He's just trying to help you out. He's just trying to help you out.
I know, and I love it. It's the cider. It's fine. As I was saying, Forged from Iron will be very much like West Ham United at some point in the future. Because we will become fucking massive.
Come on, you Irons.
Go, you Irons.